Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a test. There is a major hurricane.
Over 1 million homes lose power. 11 lives.
This is the moment we've been talking about.
Conditions out in California fueling a wildfire in Mariposa County that exploded in size overnight.
Now, which have continued to break out in northern Spain.
France, like the rest of Europe, has been struggling this summer with successive heat
Tonight,
waves.
desperation spilling into the streets of Nuevo
The
León,
northern
Mexico.
state of
Mexico is in one of the worst droughts in over a decade.
These are not images from the desert Southwest. They're from Massachusetts.
Millions of Texans went without power for several days. Some even faced water, food, and heat shortages.
All of the world's glaciers are losing mass at an alarming pace.
Climate change is defined by these observed changes in Earth's climate since the mid-20th century. This includes ice loss at Earth's poles and mountain glaciers, as well as frequency in extreme weather such as hurricanes, heat waves, wildfires, droughts, floods, and precipitation. Empirical evidence of these changes in climate are often measured in changes in global temperature difference year over year. There is conclusive data that this is driven by human activities, particularly fossil fuel burning, which increases heat trapping greenhouse gas levels in Earth's atmosphere, raising Earth's average surface temperature. And if we look at one of the world's largest contributors to climate change, we see the similar severe effects on the United States' yearly temperature changes. The impact of this is even more apparent in the number of lives lost due to climate change. 300,000 lives to heat wave, 650,000 lives to drought, 575,000 to storms. Not even to mention the thousands of species that were needlessly and completely wiped out.
Our climate is changing. Our planet is warming at an accelerated pace. Although the Earth's climate has been changing throughout its history, the current rate of global warming is happening at a rate not seen in the past 10,000 years. What exactly is climate change, and what are some of the effects on our planet? Our guest today, Gyan Dash, is the chair and founder of a nonprofit organization called Think of Nature, which is dedicated to giving our future generation a sustainable planet Earth. He is also an engineering manager for one of our country's best-known corporations. Welcome to our show, Gyan. Now, the video that you had created really gives us a very succinct and concise explanation of climate change. Do you want to elaborate on that?
The simple definition of climate change is the long-term change in average weather patterns. We see frequent hurricanes, thunderstorms, we see our glaciers are melting, the sea level is rising. All these are the symptoms. So these symptoms are the results of our past actions. If I take back to the pre-industrial revolution, we made a lot of progress, but at the same time, just like ungrateful child to our mother nature, we have harassed our planet before taking any progress. Think about the impact on our planet Earth. People think climate change is a natural phenomenon. It's happening because of the sun is shining brighter and brighter, the Earth is orbiting, the volcanoes is rising. But the scientists have come up with the statistics. These natural phenomenon, like sun is brighter, Earth orbit is moving in a different speed, or the volcano, this contributes only 0.001%. The rest 99.999% is due to our own actions. So that's what we instead of saying climate change, it's our actions, the result we are getting now. So we are the cause for the climate change.
Tell us again, what is the difference between climate change and global warming?
Many confuse between climate change and global warming.
Right.
And some think about both terms are interchangeable, but it's not. So I'll take one example of the pizza oven. We have a brick oven all covered, and the entire heat is not escaping outside, and the heat will cook the pizza. The same way, because of our own actions, like in industry, fossil fuel burning fossil fuel, coal, we have generated a lot of greenhouse gases to the atmosphere, and that thick layer of the greenhouse has made like a brick wall like the oven, and the earth is inside like the pizza. So the heat coming from sun coming through the greenhouse reflects from the earth, and the greenhouse layer which is made like the brick wall is keeping that heat all together, not letting it go out. So what that means, we are cooking ourselves within the oven. Definitely the greenhouse is not bad for certain amount, for always our earth will be cooler and will not be comfortable to live. So we need the greenhouse gases, but we have made this layer so thick, all the heat is getting trapped, and it has increased the temperature more than 1 degree since pre-industrial revolution. And this is the average 1 degree change in the global temperature. Somewhere it might be 5 degrees centigrade more, somewhere it is 2 degrees centigrade more, but on an average 1 degree has gone up. So that is global warming. If I go back to the pizza metaphor, if the 1 degree temperature has changed, what will happen to the cheese on the pizza?
Right.
It will start melting.
Right.
The same way, the ice in the mountain glaciers and our sea level, the ice is melting. The sea level is rising. We are seeing more and more wildfire. If we cook more heat to the pizza, it will burn. The same way, wildfire we see a lot in California.
Yes.
So all these effects, due to global warming, the climate change, which are the symptoms or the effect we see, we call climate change. Now you can see the difference between the temperature rising is the global warming, but the effects due to the temperature rise is the climate change.
So how are these effects affecting human health and animal health?
Say two different types of effect. One effect is on our planet itself, which is the rising temperature, rising sea level, the frequent unpredicted weather patterns, and loss of biodiversity, loss of our forestation. So these are one kind of effect we see. So due to these effects, we see the impact on people, on humanity. We see people getting dispersed, communities moving from one place to another because of poverty. How the poverty comes into picture, one good example is the recent lockdown COVID. Due to that, all supply chain is impacted, and we are not able to feed. The inflation has gone up. There are so many effects we know. The same way, climate change brings poverty into place. Climate change also brings malnutrition, how we get our food, the mental health. So a lot of impact on people due to climate change.
You had already mentioned, I think, that it's the scientific opinion that it's caused by humans.
If I go back to the greenhouse, what are the greenhouses? So majorly people know carbon dioxide, but there's another bigger one is the methane. Methane is the big contribution to the temperature rise.
And a lot of that, the methane is caused by animals, right?
Yes, farming. So if I go a little more statistics, every year we create globally 51 billion tons of CO2. And in total, since Industrial Revolution till now, we have more than 2,200 gigatons of carbon dioxide already deposited in that, which is huge. And if you say, what are the major reasons for this greenhouse effect? One is the transportation is big cause, fossil fuel, which constitute 25%. Energy is another 25%. Like all the energy you use at home, at work, at school, all the energy coming from coal or fossil fuel. So that's the second category. The third one you mentioned, like say the agriculture and the beef industry, which is creating methane gas. And the fourth one, the worth mentioning, is the waste. So the waste we produce like 13 tons hazardous waste every second.
Every second?
We talk one sentence, 13 tons of waste is already created.
That's amazing.
And in 1,000 years, the whole world will be filled with plastic bottles,
right,
waste, and we'll be living in garbage.
Right.
So how we can be more cautious what we are doing, taking our actions. So that's basically, we have the data. We know how the greenhouse gases are forming and what percentage we contribute to the effect. So that completely scientists, NASA and United Nations, all over the globe, people are doing the research, bringing in the data through satellite imagery, through machine learning, AI, and we concretely know that these are due to our human effort.
Right. And it's affecting all the countries in the world.
Yes.
And so how much is the United States contributing to this problem?
Yeah, so definitely that's a good question. Being here in a United States, and the current statistics this year, China is the top contributor to carbon dioxide, and US is second, and India is third, and fourth is Russia, I guess. So, but if you take overall since industrial revolution till now, cumulative, US is the top contributor to CO2. So US has contributed 20% of the total greenhouse gas. Definitely we are the most developed country. We have made a lot of progress. At the same time, we are also responsible for the climate change, 20%. And we are serious, we have to take action. We have hope, we can build solution to mitigate what we have done in past.
So what kind of deadline are we facing related to this?
That's the IPCC, which is the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel for Climate Change, which has published the very thorough research on the data and the deadlines. The temperature has changed from 1 degree more on an average from pre-industrial revolution. If you go at that space, I was reading today, already we are in 1.2, not 1 degree, which is on 1.2. Another decade will be another 0.2 degree change. So every decade we are changing 0.2, increasing temperature. By 2030 or 2040, we'll hit 1.5, and by 2100, we'll hit 2 degrees centigrade more.
Oh, goodness.
And if you think about our signal like a yellow, red, and green, we are now in like a yellow zone. If we go to the 1.5, till 2, we will be in yellow zone. Beyond 2, when we go to 3 degree more than pre-industrial revolution temperature, we are in the red zone. So which will be hard task for everyone to revert back. It's so urgent that globally everyone is talking about climate change.
Sounds like we definitely have a deadline closing in on us very quickly.
Yep, definitely.
So what are some of the major solutions, some of the major things that we can do?
Though the challenge, this problem is so huge, and the problem is the greatest threat to humanity we have ever faced. Climate change is one of the biggest problems we have to solve.
It is.
And to solve a huge problem, we need everyone. We need government, we need individual, we need large corporations, we need non-profits. Everyone needs to join hand to solve this problem.
So what can governments do? Let's start there.
Government definitely has a bigger opportunity to bring in laws and policies, and like you might have knowing someone Clean Air Act. We have EPA, Environmental Protection Agency in US, and recently this year we have US Inflation Reduction Act, which has $369 billion targeted for climate change.
And do you know what specifically it's targeted for?
So it's targeted across 5 different industries major. One is the energy, renewable energy, which is solar, wind, and geothermal. The second one is transportation, which is electric vehicle. We know it's growing rapidly. Aviation is a big challenge. How to have renewable source of energy for our aircraft is still unsolved. A lot of research is going on how to solve that. Third category is agriculture. Agriculture and the beef industry, plant-based meat. A lot of companies already startup are doing this. Then the fourth category is building, how to have green building. And the fifth recent innovations going on carbon capture. So what it means is the greenhouse already we emitted to the atmosphere, how we can bring it down, how we can take like a vacuum cleaner and suck all the greenhouse gases.
How can we do that?
So some of the startup companies are trying to do say mechanical tree, and one of the startup companies in San Francisco. So instead of the natural tree, which is think of nature, by the way, going on a natural solution, we'll talk about more, but the mechanical tree is more efficient in carbon capture. There are other industries working on taking carbon dioxide, converting into bricks. So instead of cement, you can use carbon dioxide to building bricks.
What accomplishments have been made worldwide on a worldwide basis?
Worldwide basis, there are top 10 technology or accomplishment or climate solution we have so far been going through is through our research, through our large corporation, through our startup companies in terms of clean energy, which is a big one. So we have like the solar and wind, clean energy everywhere through the house, through the large corporation trying to use clean energy. That's one kind of progress. The other progress is the electric vehicle, the transportation, and the building, sustainable building. And fourth one is the circular economy, how to reuse carbon in our any product. So when we are buying some product, some of those companies, they're trying to reuse materials. Instead of taking natural resources or mine or mineral, try to reuse the material. So that's the circular economy. Carbon capture is one, which is another solution is on the table. So we have hope, we have solutions, but we need more.
So are the large corporations part of this solution?
Oh, definitely. Large corporation has a big part in, like say, the data center, the cloud. We know we are consuming a lot of high-tech industry, consuming a lot of energy. So how they can move to renewable energy, that's one. How they can reuse the materials they're producing. Large corporations have been given 10 billions of funding to climate change. Also the VC funding. The VC funding is since 2 years, 40 billions of VC funding coming for climate change. All the startup companies are trying to leverage that money, try to build solution. And so far, thousands of startup companies are already there in the climate solution arena.
It sounds like you're saying that some of the corporations actually are trying to do something.
Definitely. And without the large corporations and the startup initiatives, we cannot solve this a huge problem.
From large corporations to individual communities and nonprofits, what can we do more locally?
Community plays a bigger role in bringing awareness, like we are doing, talking about it, we are discussing about it. The community also has the big power to vote. We vote, we choose our leader who are into climate change, who are into climate. So we have a big power. We have to raise our voice. We have to bring awareness. At the same time, we can raise fund. Not many of the nonprofit raising fund for climate solutions. So nonprofit, we have especially for climate change, more than 2,000 nonprofits are already in globally working on climate actions. We need more because the problem is so huge. I would encourage more nonprofits to come up.
I'm so surprised that there's still people in this world, in this country, who are climate deniers. Do you have any clues as to why there are people who don't believe in climate change?
Topic or any theme, people who doesn't believe, I would say the first is ignorance. So without knowing, I don't believe it, saying I don't know, can I be curious to learn? Can I be curious to find out more what's happening? Once that kind of mentality is come up, people will learn, people will aware of the problem. They know the natural phenomena is just 0.001%. We are contributing 99.99%. then the things will change. So I would say those people are denial is mainly due to ignorance.
So what inspired you to start your organization, Think of Nature? Because I think this type of organization can do a lot to inform the people who are ignorant of the facts.
This reminds me going back to 2015, 2016, also going back to my middle school time. 2015, 16 and 17, 3 years, continuous drought was in Odisha, the eastern state of India, where 150 farmers, they committed suicide. And that's because of the drought. They cannot feed their family, that the source of income is only farming. And when I was in middle school, I have seen the same, continuous drought for several years. So in my mind, the question was, why it is happening? I didn't know climate change then, but now I know. But that question was there in my mind, tickling around what's happening. And I started this research 4 years back, looking at different books, reading different research articles. Last year, I started this organization, Think of Nature. What I found, if we live in harmony with nature, our forest, our ocean, our soil already designed by nature to capture the carbon we emit. But as a human, we have gone, let's say, made the US deforestation to 38% from 60%. We cut down forest. We pollute our soil, we pollute our ocean. That caused the climate change. So how we can live in harmony with our nature? We always think about nature, so that's how Think of Nature born.
Describe to us some of your major focus and programs for your organization.
Sure. Our main mission is to inspire our local communities and the youth globally to build and adopt climate solutions. We have a simple value called LIGHT, is L for learning, I for inclusion, G for giving, H for harmony, and T for togetherness. So bringing the climate literacy into picture, bringing the inclusion, all different generation, different ethnicity to participate in this climate journey. We have 3 major areas of focus. First is restore, restoring our natural resources, whether it is bringing the forestation back to 60%, restoring, recycle, reuse, and we partner with other non-profit organizations for planting event. We have a goal of 1,000 trees this year. The second major focus is reinvent, how we can engage our youth to substitute all the technology we have. Think about from morning to evening, all the technology we are using, all the building, all our refrigerator, all our air condition, everything. Can we change, we reinvent, which are sustainable? Third focus is basically reassess, how we can measure ourselves, how much carbon I am generating, how much carbon a small company is generating. Once we measure, we can take step how to reduce it. In our website, we have one app, which if you give your information, it will tell you how much carbon you are generating.
Oh, so you can individualize each person's.
Individual person can measure their carbon.
Very good.
And you can try to optimize. On an average, in the US, we are generating 14.2 tons per year. Every year, 14.2.
That is a lot.
Which is, if I multiply 2,000, is like a 28,000 pounds of carbon we ourselves generate.
That is amazing. Shocking, in fact.
Yep.
How about the younger generation? Do you have young people active in your organization?
That's one of our major focus area, how to bring the young generation. Young mind has a brilliant ideas to bring into the field. So we encourage them, come up with the idea, we help them building solutions. And if you see the recent years, like Stanford, MIT, and Berkeley or Harvard, all the top schools, they got at least $1 billion minimum funding each school to build a separate school of sustainability. And it's a completely new school focusing on climate change, focusing on sustainability. So at the college level, we are already getting funding and starting the initiatives. But at the elementary school level, at the middle school level, or at the high school level, what we come into picture, like many nonprofit do, is have like say clubs, like whether it is sustainability club or bringing climate literacy, climate science into the focus through events, through programs like different clubs, and we help them. We kickstart their ideas to build product idea to solution.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today. And thank you so much for all the work that you're doing to help save our planet.
Thanks for having me, and it's my pleasure to talk about this most impacting and important problem we have in hand.
Saving our planet is the responsibility of the governments of the world. It's the responsibility of corporations, communities, academia, and nonprofit organizations. It's the responsibility of each and every one of us. Remember, what we do matters. Thank you for being with us today, and be sure to watch us also on YouTube and Roku. See you next time. Bye-bye.